On a blazing afternoon in April 2025, the sleepy mountain town of Pahalgam was jolted out of its spring bloom by a terror attack that killed 26 Indian tourists. What followed over the next 3 weeks would unravel as one of the most astonishing geopolitical flip-flops in recent Indian history. A war that India half fought, half denied, lost militarily, and paradoxically, celebrated politically. The spark, Pahalgam burns, Delhi roars. The April 22nd attack, as per Indian sources, it was orchestrated by Jaish-e-Mohammed operatives based in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, ignited widespread outrage in India. Social media exploded. Primetime news anchors bayed for blood. Hashtags like Revenge for Pahalgam and Surgical Strike too trended within minutes. 2 days later, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the nation with stoic calm. India will not forget. India will not forgive. A retaliatory air mission, codenamed Operation Sindoor, was greenlit. It was meant to be a surgical, show-of-force air raid to destroy 3 key training camps in the Neelam Valley. But as history would have it, Operation Sindoor would become the biggest Air Force embarrassment since the Kargil reconnaissance failures of 1999. The dogfight debacle, 6 jets, 1 Rafale, down on April 26th at 3:42 a.m., 12 Indian Air Force jets, including 4 Rafales, 2 Mirage 2000s, and 6 Sukhoi 30 MKIs, took off from bases in Pathankot and Ambala. Their mission, eliminate 3 known terror camps. Unfortunately, the strike package was met with a highly anticipated response. Unknown to Indian military intelligence, Pakistani radar systems had picked up the aerial activity well in advance. What followed was a precision interception by the newly inducted J-10C of Pakistan Air Force, along with F-16s and JF-17 Thunders. The results were shocking. 3 Rafale jets were shot down by a J-10C with PL-15 missile, a staggering loss given its cost and perceived invincibility. 1 Sukhoi 30 MKI and 1 MiG-29 were lost to combined surface-to-air fire and aerial dogfights. The Indian Air Force claimed it had achieved all mission objectives, but the world saw through the smokescreen. Footage of a burning Rafale wreckage, ironically, one of India's $100 million pride acquisitions from France, surfaced on Chinese social media within hours, adding insult to injury. The diplomacy spiral, Trump to the rescue. As India faced the grim reality of losing 6 jets in one operation, panic seeped through South Bloc. Rumors of war began swirling in Washington and London. The United Nations called for restraint. China deployed troops near the line of actual control for exercises, adding pressure on the Indian government. Enter Donald J. Trump. Despite being out of office since 2021, Trump had continued positioning himself as a global peace deal maker. Trump took a firm stand, along with Marco Rubio, to negotiate between India and Pakistan. Surprisingly, both countries agreed to his back-channel proposal. Within 48 hours, a ceasefire was brokered. Trump announced triumphantly, "We just prevented a nuclear war." Back in India, confusion reigned. Did India just surrender under foreign pressure? Was this a strategic de-escalation or a diplomatic slap? The cover-up and celebration, a masterclass in narrative control. The Modi government, known for its adept media management and ability to turn crises into campaign slogans, wasted no time in spinning the setback into a story of strategic brilliance. Within hours of the ceasefire announcement, the tone on national news channels underwent a transformation that could only be described as cinematic. Gone were the murmurs about the downed Rafale, or the 5 other lost jets. In their place emerged a loud, singular narrative. India's military pressure brought Pakistan to its knees. Primetime anchors beamed as they hailed the government's decisive leadership. Phrases like non-kinetic victory, psychological edge, and tactical dominance without escalation were served hot and fresh on every panel discussion. Analysts who had previously criticized the loss of air assets were nowhere to be found. In today's India, perception is 80% of victory. Who cares who shot down what if the people are busy celebrating a win they never got? The Pakistani side. A quiet victory. Pakistan's government remained unusually quiet post-ceasefire. For once, Islamabad avoided overt triumphalism. Military sources confirmed they had indeed intercepted and shot down Indian jets, but emphasized their preference for peace. Behind closed doors, however, the Pakistani military establishment celebrated. For the first time in 2 decades, they had not only responded effectively to an Indian strike, but done so without major international backlash. They had also managed to shoot down a Rafale, a symbolic win. The fallout, questions, irony, and the silence. Despite the carefully curated narrative, uncomfortable questions lingered. Why was the IAF unprepared for a Pakistani interception? How did a Rafale get shot down by Chinese missile system? Why was Trump's involvement denied so aggressively when the U.S. State Department confirmed it? Yet, remarkably, none of these questions found their way to mainstream media. With general elections just a few months away, the government was in no mood to let a military blunder derail the nationalist pitch. International media, the hypocrisy watchdogs. Outside India, major outlets weren't as forgiving. The Guardian ran the headline, India's denial diplomacy. War lost, face saved. The New York Times published a scathing op-ed titled The Rafale Mirage. Chinese state media mocked India's bravado, calling it Bollywood militarism. Russian outlets stayed diplomatically silent, though whispers emerged that Moscow was deeply disappointed at the loss of Russian-made jets. A surrender in everything but name. India's May 2025 ceasefire with Pakistan wasn't just a military de-escalation. It was a psychological and narrative recalibration. The government turned a tangible battlefield loss into a televised victory. They spun a Trump-brokered deal into a sovereign decision. They lost jets but gained polling points. Some call it masterful politics. Others call it gaslighting at the national level. But the truth remains. India lost 5 jets, including a Rafale. It agreed to a ceasefire brokered by a former U.S. president. It denied the facts and celebrated the fiction. History may not be kind when it tells the full story. But for now, the streets of Delhi still chant slogans for Prime Minister Modi. Perhaps, in this land of paradoxes, losing is just another path to triumph, as long as you control the narrative. The war that wasn't, but still went viral. In the end, India didn't win a war. It didn't even admit to losing one. But it did what it does best in the 21st century. Win the narrative within India. And in an age where headlines matter more than history, perhaps that's the real battlefield. Was it clever strategy, mass delusion, or just brilliant PR? That's for you to decide. But one thing's for sure, the story isn't over. As long as jets fall, hashtags rise, and Truth Social tweets trigger diplomatic firestorms, we'll be here to break it down, fact-check it, and maybe laugh through the madness. If you found this video eye-opening, entertaining, or just wildly unbelievable, don't forget to give it a like. Want more bold breakdowns of geopolitics, spin, and satire? Hit that subscribe button and join the conversation. And, hey, drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think really won this war of narratives? Until next time, stay sharp, stay skeptical, and always read between the battle lines.